Hi everybody, Alex Deploy here from Expert Forex, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the concept of reversing your direction of trade when you have an unsuccessful EA or unsuccessful manual trading system. Now that seems so simple, so let's have a look at that. Often a trader would purchase an EA and it would make loss after loss after loss. Or the trader would start trading a manual system and the trader would make loss after loss after loss. So the obvious answer is, why don't you think of just reversing the direction of trade? In fact, one would think that it's much easier to design a loss-making forex trading system and then just reverse the direction of the trade. All very simple. In this series, this is going to be a couple of videos, this series, we're also going to be looking at EAs that actually are reversible. Now, I've been trading Forex for about over 14 years. And when I design or evaluate an EA, one of the standard steps that I do is I test whether it is reversible. So even profitable EAs can be reversed, and sometimes the reversal becomes profitable. Or a negative EA can be reversed and made profitable. Same applies to manual trading systems. So I have a lot of experience in this, and I'm going to give you the benefit of this experience in this series of videos. This concept is so serious that we actually built into our EAs a reverse direction setting. Now that setting is there not because we expect our clients to reverse the direction of trade if they're having negative results, which they can do, but mainly because I put it there when I was testing the EA. It is a standard process that I followed, and over the years I've discovered some really gems of EAs by just reversing the direction. Again, it just makes common sense and it's so simple. So let's look at the rules that I have created over these 14 years of trading that I use to evaluate whether an EA or trading system can be reversed. So rule number one, keep it simple. Now the more complex an EA is, or a trading system where let's say 5 indicators have to align before you do the entry, and then there most probably are 6 exit methods, indicator methods, stops, following stops, break-even stops, those kind of things. The more complex an EA is, the less reversible it is. So what we're looking for, we're looking for nice simple EAs. EAs that have a simple entry, the same target as the same stop, because then it becomes more reversible, and that type of thing. Those are the kind of EAs that are reversible. There are exceptions to this rule, and we'll be looking at that in the series, but the kicking off point is we want a simple EA, and preferably the exits and the entries should be more or less the same. So if you have a buy of 100 pip target and 100 pip stop, if you reverse that, the sell will have 100 pip target and 100 pip stop. So that's a reversible system. Again, as I say, there are exceptions to this. And that leads us straight into the second rule. And a rule that's very important. A lot of traders don't realize it. And I call it my triple spread rule. Now the triple spread rule basically says that you cannot reverse an EA unless the results of the EA you're reversing are at least negative by 3 spreads or positive by 3 spreads. Now I'll explain that in a little bit more detail. Take a simple example. You want to enter a buy with a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target. Now one would think, oh, that's okay, because if you reverse that, the sell will have a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target. But the spread causes problems. And let's say in this example the spread is 5. So this price, to hit the buy target, the price has to travel 25 pips to pay for the spread and hit the target. But to hit the stop, it only has to travel 15 pips because you have to pay for the spread. So you have an unequal target distance and an unequal spread distance. And then if you reverse that and you enter sell, the sell has to travel 25 pips to reach its target and only 15 pips to hit its stop. So it's not that simple to have a stop and a target that's the same because of the spread. So that's the one hurdle that we have to. Now the way that I've overcome this hurdle is I just look at the global results of, let's say, an EA. And as long as the average loss that gets generated by the EA is bigger than 3 times the spread. So if the spread is 5, we want an average loss of more than 15 pips. Only then is that EA reversible. Now in the example that I mentioned, you'll see that the difference between the target and the stop was 10 pips between the buy and the sell. So it shows you to reverse you need at least double the spread, but I put in a bit of safety and I say I want a triple spread before I will investigate whether the EA is reversible. Now there are ways of getting around this, like for instance using a broker that only charges commission, then your targets and your stops are the same. But remember, commission is only another way of charging a spread, but at least you can control the transaction that way. We'll look at those kind of aspects later on. But certainly just bear in mind, you have to cover the spread 3 times before an EA or a trading method becomes reversible. Now to show you that in practice is that when you back trade an EA, a statistic gets generated. It's called the expected payoff. Now it's not a complicated calculation. It is, as I said earlier, what you do is you take the losses that are generated by the EA and divide it by the number of transactions that have occurred. And as long as that sum gives you more than 3 times the spread, that could potentially be a reversible EA. And remember, all of these rules have to be met. So you might have an EA that meets this requirement, but it might not be simple enough to reverse. So these are the first 2 rules I'm going to cover in this particular video. We're going to be covering some other rules in future videos. And we're going to have a look at how easy or difficult it is to actually generate a loss-making system in the Forex market. And as mentioned before, we're going to be looking at a couple of EAs that are reversible, and even EAs where it doesn't matter which direction you trade. Now that's the ideal EA, because it doesn't matter if you enter a buy or a sell. In the long run, you will be profitable. Now, if you want to watch these future videos in the series, please subscribe to my channel. And when you do subscribe, click on the bell button next to the subscription section. And by clicking on that bell button, you'll be notified when I publish a new video in this particular series. If you like this video and it's giving you lots of food for thought about reversing your unsuccessful trading systems, please give this video a like. Now before I go, I just want to give one more challenge. If you have any EAs that meet the requirements that I've mentioned, firstly, they must be relatively simple. Secondly, the losses that are generated, the average losses that are generated, should be higher than 3 times the spread. If you have EAs that do that, I want to know about them. Please add them in the comments below or contact me about them, and hopefully we can create some really good winning EAs from them by just reversing them. But they have to comply with those 2 tests. There are more tests coming up, but those are the major ones. They basically take care of up to 80% of the EAs that are reversible or not reversible. So this concept is quite an exciting one, and I look forward to showing you more about it in future videos. From me, Alex Deploy, cheerio.